Hello and welcome to Courtney's Word of the Day. Today's word of the day is chivalrous. Chivalrous is an adjective that means marked by honor, courtesy, and courage. Now, your question as viewers is, do you guys know anyone famous who could be considered chivalrous? Anyone? Oh, looks like I'm getting a call. Hello? Mark Antony? Who is Mark Antony? A ruler of the Roman Empire? Wait, I need to call you back. I need to do some research. Mark Antony. Well, no duh, I don't know of him. He was born in 83 BC. It says here that some dude named William Shakespeare wrote a play about him called Antony and Cleopatra. Wait, who's William Shakespeare? Regarded as the greatest English writer of all time, William Shakespeare was a phenomenal playwright, poet, and actor. There is no doubt that he had a large influence on the history of theater and quickly became one of the most innovative dramatists the world has ever seen. William Shakespeare was born around April 23, 1564 in Stratford-upon-Avon, England, which is just a small town outside of London. He was the eldest of 6 surviving children. His father worked as a glove maker and even served as mayor in 1569. Though no personal documents survive from Shakespeare's school years, his work shows the mark of the excellent education offered at the Stratford Grammar School. The school mainly focused on memorization, especially of Latin grammar, which helped Shakespeare later in life in that he could retain all that he read and heard. However, there is a myth that Shakespeare was an untutored genius and was not formally educated, but instead had natural intelligence. At age 18, he married Anne Hathaway, who was 26 at the time. Together they had 3 children, Susanna and the twins Hamnet and Judith. Shortly after, Shakespeare left his new family in Stratford and traveled to London to pursue his dream of a career in theater. From there, he landed a job in the Lord Admiral's Men Theatre Company and worked his way to fame. Shakespeare wrote a total of 37 plays and 154 sonnets before retiring. At the height of his success in 1609, Shakespeare purchased the second largest house in Stratford and divided his time between the city life in London and the country life in Stratford. On April 23, 1616, Shakespeare died of an unknown illness at the age of 52. Antony and Cleopatra is a tragedy that was first performed around 1607 by the King's Men, although the exact year is unknown. Its first actual appearance in print was in the first folio of 1623. It is thought that the inspiration of the play came from Plutarch's The Lives of the Grecians and Romans. Shakespeare became fascinated with Plutarch's excerpt about Mark Antony's life and used this information to focus his play on Antony's relationship with Cleopatra. There are many parallels between Shakespeare's writing and Plutarch's writing that demonstrates the closeness of the two stories, most noticeably in the scene where Cleopatra first meets Antony. Others believe that Shakespeare was inspired by his own era when Elizabeth I was queen and wanted to emphasize the influence and possibilities that women in control can possess. In the scene, I will be performing Act 5, Scene 2, the last scene of the play, where Cleopatra is in the jail cell plotting her own death. The play Antony and Cleopatra takes place in both ancient Egypt and the Roman Empire. Antony is the adopted son of Julius Caesar, who also had 2 close friends, Octavius Caesar and Lepidus. These 3 took control over the Roman Empire after Julius Caesar's assassination. Antony spends most of his time in Egypt, avoiding his political duties in Rome, living a life of luxury and having an affair with the Egyptian queen Cleopatra. When a message arrives informing him that his wife is dead and that Pompey, a Roman military leader, is plotting to raise an army to rebel against the 3 leaders, Antony makes a decision to head back to Rome. Upon his arrival, Caesar berates Antony over neglecting to fulfill his duties. Realizing that an alliance is necessary to defeat the powerful Pompey, Antony decides to marry Caesar's sister to solidify their loyalty to one another, although Antony's heart remains true to Cleopatra. The 3 rulers meet with Pompey to try and sort out their differences without getting violent. Eventually, the 4 come to a consensus, and everything seems to be back to normal. Antony and his new bride depart for Athens, but Antony soon hears that Caesar went behind their backs and waged war against Pompey. Caesar then accuses Lepidus of treason, puts him in prison, and confiscates his land and possessions. Antony quickly becomes angry at this information and heads back to Egypt. There he creates a large army to fight against Caesar's, and the two prepare to meet in battle. However, Antony suffers a tremendous defeat after Cleopatra's ship flees, and Antony can't help but follow her. Convinced that Cleopatra has betrayed him, Antony vows to kill her. Scared and frightened, Cleopatra isolates herself in her mausoleum and tells her servants to send word that she has killed herself. Antony feels awfully guilty after receiving this information and decides to join his lover in the afterlife. He falls onto his own sword and ends up severely injuring himself, but is able to say a formal goodbye to Cleopatra before he dies. Heartbroken, Cleopatra goes with Caesar, hoping that he can help her. However, Caesar takes the queen hostage and plans to use her as a trophy of his power. Cleopatra learns of his plans and decides to commit suicide using several poisonous snakes before Caesar is able to take advantage of her. Give me my robe, put on my crown. I have immortal lungs in me. Now no more the juice of Egypt's grape shall moist this lip. Yea, good Iris, quick. Methinks I hear Antony call. I see him rouse himself to praise my noble act. I hear him mock the luck of Caesar, which the gods give men to excuse their afterwrath. Husband, I come. Now to that name my courage prove my title. I am fire and air, my other elements. I give to baser life, so have you done? Come then, and take the last warmth of my lips. Farewell, kind Charmian. Iras, long farewell. Have I the aspic in my lips? If thou'st fall, if thou in nature can so gently part, the stroke of death is as a lover's pinch, which hurts and is desired. Dost thou lie still? If thus thou vanish, thou tellest the world, it is not worth leave taking. This proves me base. If she first meet the curled Antony, he'll make demand of her and spend that kiss, which is my heave to have. Come now, mortal wretch, with thy sharp teeth this knot intrinsicates of life of once untie. Poor venomous fool, be angry and dispatch. Oh, couldst thou speak, that I might hear thee call great Caesar ass. Oh, as sweet as balm, as soft as air, as gentle as, oh, Antony, nay, I will take thee too. What should I stay? After Octavius finds Cleopatra's body, he arranges for Cleopatra and Antony to be buried together. Cleopatra reigned for 22 years, and for 14 she had been Antony's partner in his empire. After her death, her son was declared pharaoh until Caesar executed him. Cleopatra represented the last prominent threat to Roman authority, and her death also marked the end of the Ptolemaic kingdom. Octavius Caesar took possession of the vast treasures of Egypt and eventually annexed Egypt into the Roman Empire. Her death allowed for her to stay with her true love forever, but it also gave Caesar all of the power he desired. One of the most significant themes of the play is everlasting love. Antony professes his unfathomable love for Cleopatra and chooses her over everything, including his own wife and important business in Rome. Another theme is manipulation and power. Alliances shift throughout the play as Antony and Caesar begin on the same side, before Caesar turns on Lepidus and then on Antony. The struggle for complete power of the Roman Empire is the greatest desire among the three rulers. The last prevalent theme is honor and loyalty. Antony and Cleopatra takes place at a time of serious political turmoil and civil strife. There are many leaders rising and falling, and they must rely on the loyalty of their followers. It is when Antony's soldiers effectively desert him that Antony is finally defeated. There is also the issue of marital loyalty and fidelity. Antony leaves his wife in Rome for Cleopatra and marries Caesar's sister, even though he intends to stay with Cleopatra. Octavius Caesar does not achieve victory because he is most honorable or loyal, but merely because he is able to survive all of the betrayals and shifting loyalties of his time. Harold Bloom, an American literary critic and Sterling Professor of Humanities at Yale University, quotes, "In no other play has Shakespeare created two such equally titanic personages as Rome's great soldier and statesman, Mark Antony, and the Egyptian queen Cleopatra. The story of their irresistible attraction, their jealous quarrels and betrayals, and the effects on friends and subjects of their ruinous choices is a tale leading irretrievably to despair and defeat. Their suicides, however, strike us as a kind of triumph. Shakespeare stood at the height of his powers when he penned this great tragedy, one of the last he produced. As for me, I'm a sucker for romances and absolutely love this play. In ninth grade, we had to read Romeo and Juliet, which has a very similar love story as Antony and Cleopatra does, but it also has the violence and death that is involved in Macbeth. I found this play much easier to follow along with, and it had a lot more drama packed into it. There is always a plot twist waiting around the corner, and I would definitely recommend it to anyone who is thinking of reading it.